Welcome to the Great American Collectibles Show, heard Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern on PSA.com and the PSA Facebook page. The Great American Collectibles Show is brought to you by PSA, the National Sports Collectors Convention, and Sports Collectors Daily. Tonight's headlines are brought to you by Sports Collectors Daily. For all of your hobby news, features, and more, visit sportscollectorsdaily.com. And now, your hosts, Tom Zappala and John Molori.
Hey, yeah, man, how
What's
are
up,
you,
buddy?
brother? It's been a while.
It's been too long.
Yeah.
It's been like a month and a half.
I mean, what the hell you been doing?
You took away my show. You gave him to friggin' Rico.
Well, you know, gotta do it by request.
Right. I know.
How you doing? Things are well?
Everything's good.
Welcome to the Great
I
American...
miss you.
I missed you, too.
And I
man.
miss Chrissy more.
Yeah. Welcome to the Great American Collectibles Show. Tom Zappala with radio personality, sports personality, great sports writer, John Molori.
Yes.
In the house. We've got a good show today.
Good to be back.
It's great to be back. We've got a good show today. We've got our good friend Steve Verkman from Clean Sweep Auctions.
One of the best in the biz.
Yeah, knows his stuff. Then we have a gentleman from PSA. He's going to talk about the PSA Set Registry, Daniel Wruble.
Cool.
And last but not least, our good friend Jordan Gilroy from Lelands. They have their focus auction going on. But first, our headline. This is kind of cool. Karl Malone's Dream Team collection hits the auction block.
Okay.
Game-used jerseys and shoes from the 1992 U.S. Basketball Dream Team collected by a member of the squad that brought NBA players to the Olympics are up for auction through Golden Auctions. Basketball Hall of Famer Karl Malone has consigned a complete set of 1992 Dream Team game-used signed shoes and jerseys to the 24-item auction, a collection the auction company says could be worth about 10 million dineros. How did he get it? Among the items are game-used signed jerseys from all of Malone's teammates, including MJ, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Charles Barkley, and a pair of shoes signed by Jordan to Malone and Malone's own autographed game-used jersey. All 12 pairs of shoes and all 12 jerseys come with both Karl Malone's LOA and JSA's LOA for the autographs.
So,
for more information, you can go to our good friend Rich Miller at sportscollectorsdaily.com.
so he just got these
Probably 20 years ago.
30. It was 92.
Maybe he needs the cash.
I can't imagine that Larry Bird is not pissed off right now.
He may need
because
the
he's
cash.
one of probably my favorite basketball player of all time, but he doesn't like to lose out on any money. I'm hoping he's throwing Bird a few bucks.
Well, I don't know, man.
That's going to be an amazing find.
No kidding.
Are you kidding me?
Why don't you bid on something? Let's bid on the Bird jersey.
I would bid on Larry Bird's fingernail clippings from the locker room if Carl grabbed those, maybe.
Hey, okay, there was one other thing. Oh, this is my Celtics hat, but I have it on backwards.
Why don't you leave it that way?
I am. I'm leaving it on backwards. You know something, with all due respect, we're going to get to Steve real quickly.
Yeah.
I kind of give him a little pass. The only reason being...
Because Tatum got hurt?
In the first minute of the game. And did you see him? I mean, he could hardly walk.
He couldn't walk.
He really couldn't walk.
It's just disappointing. We'll talk more later in the show, I think.
No, we won't.
Okay, fine.
No, we won't.
And it's just disappointing they
Let's
dug that
move on.
hole for themselves, and they're just too good a team to not advance further.
Past tense.
Both teams that are still playing, roster to roster, are not as good as the Celtics.
Well, you know something?
But I think I'm not blaming the coach. I think he saved his job coming back from 3-0. He saved his job. You got to bring him back.
I agree.
You got to bring him back.
All right, let's bring in our good friend Steve Verkman from Clean Sweep Auction. Steven, you've got another great auction.
Yep.
I'm going to let you run with it, but I do see a couple of things that were eye-popping. Tell us about the 50 signed Bowman Mays.
Yeah, it's a really great card. We have a 51 Bowman Mays signed rookie card. Really nice Gem Mint 10 PSA autograph. Our consignor got it from Mays personally to show about 20 years ago.
Wow.
The card, perfect. We have a bunch of really good signed cards in this auction, and these things, it's incredible the market right now. Especially these dual graded things like a 53 Bowman color mantle, like the card is a 4 and the autograph's a 9, and I know the card's between $5,000 and $10,000 already. I mean, the prices are just amazing of how many people are collecting the signed cards. I guess they start with the current stuff and go backwards because it's a lot of new collectors doing this. And these vintage signed cards are just, white hot, especially, key people. Like we have a we have a Hank Aaron rookie signed with a picture of him signing it. So that's been a popular
That's
lot.
cool.
That's
Steve,
awesome.
you mentioned it was a 53 tops mantle you got?
We got a Topps and a Bowman. We got both. But yeah, the Bowman one is double graded. The mantle one's, the Topps one's just an authentic.
It's just an authentic, and the auto is 9, you said?
The Bowman one.
The Bowman one. Okay, I got you. The reason I'm asking because I have a 53 mantle signed in ink that I've had for several years, and it's kind of just sits in my safe, and I admire it.
Should.
It's a nice card. Also, you've got a plethora of T206s, Goudey Ruths, and other Bowman mantles. How many Goudey Ruths do you have?
We have a lot. We have
Jeez.
6 Goudey Ruths, all freshly graded. None of them have been on the market before. We have 2 51 Bowman Mantle rookies, 3 or 4 51 Bowman Mays rookies. It's the biggest auction, deepest auction we've probably ever had. A lot of this came from one collection. This collector had an amazing collection, a great eye for quality and star cards and sets from 1933 up. This will be featured in several of our auctions. But what's great about this stuff, it hasn't been out there. There's just so much of it. So people maybe that haven't seen our auctions before, you really want to take a look at this. We have also have things that you never see, like we have a 52 Burke Ross set we're breaking up in really high grade. So we have the Mantle and the Mays and 7s offered as single lots, and you just never see that.
One sec. No,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Go ahead, Steve.
No, I want to make, before I forget, one thing, I do want to make a programming announcement. Later on in the show, stick around because we have a couple of announcements to make that are major programming announcements regarding the show. We're going to make one today and then a major one next week, so stick around, but I think it's pretty exciting. Pretty exciting. All right, let's get back.
That's an excellent tease you just did.
Thank you.
Steve, let's talk about some of the team-signed baseball. You mentioned this is like a real thick auction. Like, there's a lot of good stuff in it. Can you talk about some of the team-signed stuff?
Yeah, we have a 1970 Yankee ball with the real Munson. We have back to cards a little bit, but related to autographs, we have a East Hill set from 1966, fully signed, including the Clemente.
Wow.
It's your Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig autographs and all the many of the key Hall of Famers going back to the early 20th century. We're very deep in that. There's a cool Star Wars lot that we got. A guy came in with a double vending box of Star Wars cards. So we have a lot of those, and there's a big run of really scarce non-sports sets, very esoteric, going back to the 20th century, early 20th century. It's from the same collection. Some of them are high grade. So there's a balance of stuff that we don't often see. And then we have some good new cards too. But there's a big variety of things. There's some cool memorabilia too. It's just a big variety.
You seem to be one of the few auction houses that really has some success with boxing. Can you tell us about some of the boxing stuff you have?
Yeah, boxing is always good. I mean, the Ali stuff is always solid. The Joe Louis stuff, we do well with the cards. It's we don't really do the game used like fight robes.
Right.
We've always done well with good boxing stuff. We have a John L. Sullivan signed letter in here. We always have the ringside card. So, we have a couple of the early sets. So it's always been very good for us.
Same thing with football, early football too, right?
Football is great. I mean, those national tickles are just great.
Yeah.
And then early Bowmans. I mean, that stuff. I mean, it's funny, like with those cards, it's weird. They're like, I'm not like the biggest knowledge. I don't have the knowledge I have in vintage football and hockey like I do in baseball. And I don't really know that much about these guys from the 50s. And frankly, I don't think hardly anyone does, to be honest. But the cards are just so much more artistic and attractive. It's weird. It's almost like they think like they had to work harder to sell them, and they're like great looking cards. They're better looking than the baseball cards.
They really are.
The player poses and everything.
Like you ever see the quarterbacks? they all have the same pose.
They're fun.
With the whiffles.
I never got the guy's diving. Like, he must have got hurt, like, taking that.
But something is funny, Steve, you're saying that, because when I was a kid, I really was into collecting football cards.
Yeah.
I had baseball cards, but you know why? Because the Patriots didn't exist.
Yeah.
And our home team was the New York Giants.
Right.
Rosie Brown, Rosie Greer, Frank Gifford, those guys.
I just always wondered, what position in football is this? A move. Like, what are you doing there,
Steve, we got about another minute. What are some of the other items you have, and when does the auction end?
Yeah, there's the most important thing. The auction ends a week from today. You have to have your bids in by 8 o'clock Eastern Time, Wednesday, June 7th. We have other highlights include a 1952 Star Cal Mickey Mantle decal. We have a 1960 Post serial mantle. We have 2 John F. Kennedy autographs.
Wow.
Some of Chuck we have Chuck Knobloch's All-Star ring. We have a World Series trophy. We have
You have a ring, a Dodgers 88 World Championship ring, too.
88. We have an 88 Dodger ring. We have some cool tickets. We have the ticket from Michael Jordan's NCAA Game 7 with his winning shot. We have that ticket. So there's a big variety of things: autographs, cards, memorabilia. There's all sorts of cool stuff. And remember, in a clean sweep auction, almost everything in the auction you will not have seen or seen in another auction.
True.
You're not against the consignor. You're not going to be bidding against the auction house. So the price is the price. So there's going to be great prices and there's going to be good deals because it's a true auction.
Awesome. As always, Steve, you do a great job. You've got a great company. You're one of the guys that have been around. We were talking about it before we went on the air. You're one of the staples of the hobby. You've been around for a long time. Know what the hell you're doing.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Okay, we'll see you down the road. Steve Verkman from Clean Sweep Auctions. Good guy.
Excellent.
He's one of those guys that he really does know what he's doing.
Yeah, no, like you said, he's one of the mainstays.
Yeah.
One of those guys that it's one of those foundation companies.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to bring in our next guest. A lot of people still don't quite grasp the whole concept of the Set Registry, the PSA Set Registry. And this is one of the experts, Daniel Wruble from PSA. Daniel, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Hey,
Good.
Dan.
Now, you're in California, I'm assuming?
I am not, actually. I'm remote. I'm out of Boise, Idaho.
Okay, but Boise.
What's new in Boise?
Heat up quite a bit. I mean, a lot of people are moving in. That's for sure.
Yeah, more people moving there? You get more out there?
California. Yeah. I'm actually from Washington myself. So
Yeah.
I've only been here for about 2 years.
What part of Washington you from, Dan?
Like the Bellevue, Redmond area.
Okay.
Just east of Seattle.
That's a
Good
nice
for you.
country out there, man. That's a nice place.
Now, Daniel, why don't you tell our viewers and listeners, radio listeners and internet viewers, what your role is at PSA?
Yeah, I'm the associate brand manager for the baseball and the football categories within the registry. So handling a lot of the set creation, some of the marketing around that, and just trying to push some of the stuff that we're doing.
Okay, so again, I'm a novice. Let's pretend I'm listening to you for the first time. I'm listening to the show for the first time. What exactly is the Set Registry?
Set Registry is a great service that PSA offers. It's a free service, which is obviously one amazing thing about it. But it's a good way to just compete with people in terms of building sets. It's awesome for management, inventory management, and we do annual awards, things like that. So it's just a great way to collect. You can communicate with other members about sets that we're building and inventory that they might have. And there's more features that are going to be added soon as well.
And you get points. People that get involved, they get points for when they finish a set or add something to a set. How does that work? It's kind of fun.
There's various ways to do that, but yes, we do have an award system or an achievement system where within a certain set or as a collection as a whole, as you add cards or you hit certain milestones, you get achievement points, and we have leaderboards for that. And so that's also a good portion of the Set Registry.
And you have all different kinds of set categories, Dan. Can you talk about that a little bit? I was on the site this week leading into the show.
Yeah, and it's actually a good little segue to a new category that we just introduced. But there's key card sets, there's company sets, rookie player sets, type sets. So there's bunch of different categories, and one that we just added in is prospects, and that is for pretty much any pre-rookie card of certain players. So for example, Ken Griffey Jr., all of his San Bernardino, Manners cards, things like that, anything that was prior to their official rookie card being released.
So like kind of back in the day, I think it was 84, they had the Olympic cards. Mark McGuire had a baseball Olympic card. That would be in that category. Yeah.
Correct. And with newer cards, modern day cards, it's those Bowman Chrome First cards, things like that are prior to those official rookie cards.
Daniel, is there one Mona Lisa in the registry? I mean, if you had to pick out I don't
think
care
it's the Mona Lisa card, isn't it?
I don't care what the sport is.
That's from the Louvre category.
Is there one set that kind of stands out, whether it be baseball, hockey? Is there one set that stands out?
For me, particular, or just as a general?
Well, for you first in particular.
For me, I would say it's probably Ken Kendricks' Diamondback collection.
Bingo.
I think that's the fair way to go.
Bingo.
I think that's the one.
And by the way,
You mean the book, right?
You're talking about the book also, right?
The book as well, yeah.
Thank you. We really appreciate it. On behalf of John and myself and Ellen, we appreciate that.
Very good. Very good.
Since we wrote it.
No.
But anyway.
Dan gets guest of the week.
No, Ken Kendrick, that's what I thought too. I thought Ken's obviously has to be at the top of the list. Now, what about the other side? You said your personal. Is there anything else that stands out?
I really like player sets. Just last year we had someone who had just like an insane Ken Griffey Jr. collection set, and those really stick out to me because you're collecting not only the high end stuff, but you're also going to the low end and everything in between. And so those really stick out, and I think those have a lot of personal story behind them. So to me, that's a little bit more, that creates importance outside of just like everything being high end.
So when you say a Ken Griffey set, this is like, so to complete a set, I have every Ken Griffey card that was ever made. That's what we're talking about?
That's what we're talking about. Yeah. So there's, his master set. The master set is everything from his playing years. So every card that was created during his playing years. And we don't have anyone at 100% just yet, but people are creeping up there.
See, I'm working on the Ike DeLocke set. Quite a while I've been working.
Great.
15, 20 minutes. We are chatting with Daniel Wruble from PSA. Daniel, I've had the pleasure of attending the awards luncheon at the National. Why don't you tell because it's really it's a nice event. Why don't you tell our viewers and listeners who about it, because I know a lot of them are in the registry, and we want to get them up there to get some awards.
Yeah, so we actually just passed our awards deadline for this year, and so we're going to be going through the judging process for that within the next couple weeks here. But the winners of those annual awards get invited to the luncheon at the National, and this year we're going to be amping it up a little bit, and that's just kind of a little bit of insight. I'm not going to drop too much details as we're still going through some of them, but it's going to be quite the experience for the people that are winning those awards.
Speaking of the the people that are doing this, that get involved, one of the nice features with the Set Registry and on the site is the message board, so people can kind of communicate with each other. Can you talk about that a little bit, Dan?
Yeah, that's definitely something that we're trying to ramp up a little bit more in the future as we're building out the registry. But it's just a good way for collectors to be able to talk about their collections or what they want to get added.
Yeah.
We actually added in something called showcases where we put a category in there for members that want to trade cards, and they have their trade list, and you can see.
That's neat. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can see what cards are available for trade, and just help people and members get completed in their sets that way.
Some of the usernames are pretty neat. There's a guy on there whose username is Karl Yastrzemski.
Really?
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, you can definitely get creative with your username for sure.
We are chatting with Daniel
And
Wruble.
it wasn't Yaz.
It wasn't Yaz, I'm sure it wasn't. Trust me.
It was definitely not.
We're chatting with Daniel Wruble from PSA. We've got about a minute left in this segment, Daniel. We're going to ask you to hang around.
Yeah.
The company is really, really evolving, isn't it?
Correct. Absolutely.
I mean, it's like it's just change after change after change. A lot of beneficial things are happening, and it's going to be exciting on your end.
Oh, absolutely. We're bringing in a new CMO with Greg Fisher. He's coming in with a lot of great ideas and creating some awesome ways for us to be able to grow and push PSA as a whole, but also the Set Registry. And he's backing a lot of our campaign ideas, which we can get into later, more specifics, but sure. Definitely a lot of change going on.
Good. All right, we're going to take a quick break. You're going to stick around for a little while, we hope.
Sounds great.
We are chatting with Daniel Wruble from PSA. Hang in there. We'll be right back.
Since 1996, Brian Drent and the staff at Denver's Mile High Card Company have led the charge in the collectibles hobby. Mile High is a full-service dealer specializing in buying and selling cards and offers a competitive consignment program for all collectors. Whether it be their computerized want list service, appraisals, or auction services, Mile High has it all. If you've been searching for a company with a selection of high-grade vintage 1888 to 1970 baseball cards and memorabilia that shares your passion, aim high, Mile High. Go to milehighcardco.com or call 303-840-2784 for more information.
This is Brian Drent, president of Mile High Card Company. Is your sports card and memorabilia collection properly insured? For easily replaced personal property, homeowners insurance is all most people need. But for prized possessions that you may have spent a lifetime collecting, it doesn't go nearly far enough. Collectables Insurance Services has been insuring for over 50 years. They offer a full range of protection and a $0 deductible at an affordable rate with no appraisals required. I know because they insure my collection. If you have a minute, go to collectinsure.com and learn more about insuring your personal card or memorabilia collection.
Hi, this is Dan from Memory Lane Auctions, here to remind you that the renowned Memory Lane Collectibles Company has served as a beacon of light to the collecting community for the past several decades. Indeed, folks, it has been our utmost privilege and pleasure to provide the most enthusiastic collectors with an abundance of the finest sports cards and memorabilia for America's most coveted sports personalities via our world-class auctions. Whether you choose either a private sale transaction or the auction route, Memory Lane cordially invites you to reach out to us to maximize the value of your prized possessions. Also, it is not just sales that we pride ourselves on being the best of the rest, because if you are seeking a particular keepsake for your esteemed gathering, we will be relentless in our quest to find that special piece to fulfill your collecting dreams. So no time to wait. Reach out to us today for the purposes of capitalizing on our unparalleled marketing capabilities. Simply pick up the phone and dial 877-606-5263. That's 877-606-LANE, or find us on the World Wide Web at www.memorylaneinc.com. Now is the time for your valued consignment to ultimately become another one of Memory Lane's record-setting prices.
How would you like to own the bat that was used by your favorite player when he hit that towering home run or game-winning base hit? Now look no further than JT Sports, specializing in the sale and authentication of professional game-used bats. As the official authenticators of professional model game-used bats for PSA DNA, JT Sports will guarantee the authenticity of any bat purchased from them. JT Sports also buys and sells game-worn uniforms, gloves, and baseball equipment. The unique quality of the collectible is what JT Sports is all about. Give them a call at 609-487-8003 or check them out at GameUseBats.com.
Okay, we are back and chatting with Daniel Wruble from PSA. Hey, Daniel, what are some of the, you mentioned something about some of the new ideas that are coming down the pike. Can you chat about that for a minute?
Yeah. Well, one, we're just doing like a little bit of a tech upgrade. But in terms of campaigns, you know, we put out an idea for an all-time players campaign where, just as a general rule, we were trying to get the community more involved, and so we were going to do some polls around who people thought were the top 10 within a given position. So center field, for example, you know, we put out a poll, give us your top 10 center fielders of all time, and then we would obviously consolidate all that into one, and based off of those rankings, do a 1 to 10, and then go from each position out, and then fill up the whole baseball lineup.
Very cool.
That's wicked cool.
Hold on.
This actually whole thing is pretty
Who's
neat.
your center fielder?
Rick Miller. He was a backup player before you were born, Dan. No, my number one center fielder of all time would be Griffey.
Would he?
Yeah.
I would agree with you on that.
Yeah. Or when I pick him over Mays, I'm going Griffey. I mean, there's some guys that were great. There's some guys who were great defensive center field is.
I'd go with Mays.
And if if the kid stayed healthy,
Who do you go
our
with?
boy Freddie Lynn might have been right
Get
up
out of
there.
here. You go with Griffey too, huh?
I'm going Griffey,
Absolutely.
bro.
I mean, obviously, I'm a little more biased being from Seattle, but Griffey
going
would
Griffey.
definitely be up there for me.
Absolutely.
Oh, you got to go Mays, man.
Listen, Griffey
Mays
might be the greatest player who ever lived.
Nah, Mays was 5'2". He was a 4'2".
What was he missing?
Couldn't run.
He couldn't run. Dan, give me a hand here. Help me out here, bro.
I won't get too deep into that. This is
Actually, you know who my
Stop.
I'll tell you who my center field was going to be.
Don't say Tris Speaker.
It was going to be Tristan.
Please stop.
I'm
Just
teasing.
Stop,
I'm
okay?
teasing.
Stop.
I'm teasing.
It's a
Yeah,
guy
you got a question.
named after a piece of audio equipment. What's your
the
point?
fun part of this.
Ask your question.
I'm with you, Dan. Griffey all the way. Listen, you talked about the categories. One of the ones I saw, I think, which is kind of reflecting the hobby a little bit and the interest level. You have a category for tickets, for game tickets, and that's a tough one. But I think that those things, as we do the show and research and all that, those are becoming more popular on auctions too. You know, game tickets from big games or big years.
Yeah, we are very aware of that and definitely trying to push tickets a little bit more and build out that category because it is gaining more and more popularity. I personally, I'm starting to keep my game tickets, even if they're not necessarily huge games, but they're memories, right? And that's what people love.
You know, correct me if I'm wrong about tickets. Like, for instance, at the Garden now, you can't get a paper ticket.
No, and the other thing I was just about to say, like in the old days, and I don't mean that old, I'm talking like the 80s or whatever, you know, they'd take your ticket and they'd rip it.
Yeah.
Like I have tickets from Yaz's last game at Fenway, but it's ripped.
It's ripped. But Daniel, so what are you doing in a case like that? Like the Celtics, at TD Bank, there's no more paper tickets. Everything you have to show your phone. Is that pretty much the norm around the country now?
It's getting there. Definitely, there's certain places that are more advanced than others, but it's definitely getting to that stage. Before I left Seattle, I went to a baseball game right before the day before I left, but we still had a ticket stub there, and I kept that just because it was the first game that I went with my son, and so we'll use that as a memory. But it's definitely trending in that direction.
Are you going to eventually expand into more than just cards? For instance, I don't know, memorabilia of some sort?
We definitely have talked about that, and it's something that's in the works, especially with the new technology. But we, especially with the company diving into things like Funko Pops, people don't collect just cards anymore. Anything that has a certain number, we would like to be able to add to the registry so that we could show off magazines, we could show off bats or balls or cards and Funko Pops, everything that you can possibly collect.
Do you ever get suggestions from people who are involved in PSA Set Registry as to new categories and ways to change things or make things more fun?
Absolutely. I have to give a shout out to Tom Pisher, who was actually the guy who sent in the prospect category idea. It was well thought out, well documented. He sent the idea. It was a little bit too specific. So I kind of made some tweaks, ran it by Jamie Kiskis, who's kind of the overseer of the whole set registry, and got the green light to push forward to kind of just get to a broader range of people. But like that whole prospect category came from him, at least the idea of it. And so we definitely are listening to ideas and encourage people to send in their ideas.
I mean, you can go in so many different directions.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Right?
Unbelievable.
I mean, it's infinite.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I mean, there's so many different sets. I mean, the whole thing about the player, getting every card from a single player, that to me that's mind-boggling. I mean, but you can take it a lot of different places.
Absolutely.
People love the all-time sets. Anything that includes, multiple eras of competition. Like we just put out a top 25 home run leaders from the start of the 2022 season, and that's been our most popular set the last 3 or 4 months. I think 250 people are already competing in that, and it just allows anyone to use any card from the top 25 leaders of all time, and it's a super popular set.
Yeah, we talk a lot about, because we came up different. Well, you're much older than me. You came up when cards were made out of rocks, but I mean, I had cardboard and stuff like that.
Excuse me, producer, are you laughing?
Yes, I am.
There hasn't been anything funny said on the show in a month and a half, so she's like really happy now. What I was going to say, we always talk about the old school, going to the card shop, but this, Dan, is really a way of using technology, interactive media to create that community, right? That community building of collectors. That's I think that's a big part of Set Registry, isn't it?
That's a huge part of Set Registry, and that that kind of goes back to why we want to listen and encourage people to send in their ideas, because this is really for the collectors and the community. It's not something that people pay for. It's just a community-based service.
All right, so let me play the devil's advocate here. I have a collection of Yaz cards, every card of all time. We get it on the registry. It's the highest graded. I jumped to first place. Right now, I'm leading the pack.
You're going to the luncheon, maybe.
I'm going to the luncheon, exactly. Right?
Like you need another free meal.
Right? I'm just saying. I think that works pretty well.
Yeah. So do it.
We are chatting with Dan Wruble from PSA. Dan, let's take it a step further. Modern versus vintage.
It's always that debate, right?
Well, what do you see from your perspective in the registry? Is it heavily weighted towards modern now?
Let me ask you this: who do you think the top 5 players added to the registry typically are, if you had to guess?
Well, again, I'm old school. I would always say Ruth, Cobb, Garrick, those guys. But on the other side of the, I'm not a Gen Z. It could be, Mike Trout. It could be Ohtani. It could be, So there's two schools of thoughts there.
Yep.
That's kind of where I was going with it. So in this month we had, well, I guess the month's not over yet, but we have 63,000 plus baseball cards that were added to the registry. The top 5 for this month in order was Ken Griffey Jr., Ohtani, Julio Rodriguez.
Wow.
Mike Trout, and then the 5th was Nolan Ryan. So,
Go figure.
Yeah. So you got a lot of that's modern in there. But
that's interesting.
Let me tell you, both can chat. I'm sensing, not that he wasn't lauded before. Obviously, he's got the numbers. I'm sensing a lot of people coming around on Nolan Ryan lately. There's been a couple of documentaries out there. I don't know why it took so long. I think the big knock on him, other than that Mets team when he was very young, he played on teams that didn't win most of his career. I always thought that he was underrated. When they talk about the greatest pitchers of all time, his name doesn't come up as much as it should. Well, but I think people are getting a little more hip to Nolan Ryan right now.
I agree with that. And Dan, going to the real vintage stuff, like the Roots, the Cobbs, the Garriggs, the Trispikas, the Lajoies, there's not many of those. Most of those cards are out there, right? So you really can't establish a new registry on a particular, because everything's out there, right? Those are finite.
Correct. There's obviously less pop on those cards to begin with, and they were less manufactured than cards that are going out now. So those numbers are obviously a little bit more skewed, but the flip side of that is the value of them are usually a lot higher, right? And you can't go wrong with having a mantle card over a Julio Rodriguez, for example.
Right. What else?
Julio Rodriguez is interesting. That was the one name that jumped out at me when you named those top 5. Why him? People just see the great potential in him, I assume.
I think potential, and I think he just does so well marketing himself.
How old is he?
Maybe not necessarily himself, but
he's young. He's very young, right? Yeah.
Super young. He just signed with Alaska Airlines, and now any home run that he hits at T-Mobile Park in Seattle, 44 fans within that section get a free round trip destination covered by Alaska. So it's like, he's just doing such a good job marketing himself. He really went big on the national stage with the home run derby last year. And people are just, I think, kind of looking for that next guy.
All right. We have about a minute left before we let you go.
Yeah.
Again, I'm going to play the devil's advocate. What happens if Julio Rodriguez tears an Achilles or gets whacked for PEDs?
Yeah. Yep.
What happens? What happens to that whole dynamic?
I thought you were going a different way. It gets whacked.
No, it's a good point. It's a good point, and that's kind of the risk that you take being a modern collector. You know, we just saw this with Fernando Tatis, right?
Right, exactly.
Super big in the hobby.
Yeah.
Got hit with PEDs. His
Yeah.
card prices saw a big drop. I think it's harder to come back from, you know, a PED issue versus an injury.
Yeah.
Just from the perspective of the collector, but you know, obviously you don't wish those type of things upon people, but you do take that risk being a modern collector.
Yep.
Daniel, people want to really get involved with the registry. How do they do so?
Yeah. How do you join? Yeah.
It's easy. Just go to psacard.com. The Set Registry button's right there. You click it, and you know you're pretty much already signed up if you're a PSA member. So it's super easy. Just go on psacard.com and get collecting.
Awesome. We're going to see you at the National?
We're still in talks in that. So I'm actually having a baby here in the next couple of weeks. So we're working on
So all
that.
these people are getting a free lunch, and you are not going to be able
Well,
to
listen,
take
by
part?
the way, if you're not there, I'll be more than happy to take your place at the luncheon.
Here we go.
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
Right.
You can take my plate.
You got it.
All right,
Bring your
Daniel.
Yaz collection.
I'll bring my
This-
yes collection. All right, Daniel, it's been a pleasure talking to you, and we'll see you down the road.
See you, Dan.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on the show.
Take care now. Nice kid.
Great.
Dan Wruble.
That was really,
PSA, good guy.
Like
good
you said,
guy.
when you leading in, a lot of people, we've talked about Set Registry on the show before,
have,
but
yeah.
I think he really opened the door to explaining what it is, how you get involved, and
Okay.
it can be a lot of fun.
All right. I told you earlier in the show that we have some programming notes
Yeah.
that we want to talk about. Over the next couple of weeks, the Great American Collectibles Show is going to be undergoing some major changes. All
See you
for the
later,
good.
guys. No, I'm just kidding.
All for the good. JM is still going to be with us. Rico is still going to be with us. I'm still going to be here. Chrissy's still going to be here. But we're going to be making some major announcements in the next week. The first announcement that we're making today is that effective now, right, Chrissy? We
now, like
have
this,
a
right this
new
second.
Great American Collectibles Facebook page.
We do.
Yes.
And we are very excited about it because, quite frankly, the old one sucked.
Okay.
And the old one sucked because we never kind of paid attention to it.
Yeah.
Right? So,
And
Chrissy,
it may or may not have gotten hacked.
so we had, right. Good point.
Important
And it
people.
did get hacked.
It did get
Very
hacked.
big.
It
Don't
did
go
get
to that
hacked.
page
It got
anymore.
hacked. So, once it got
Not
hacked.
Hack Wilson either.
Once it got hacked, we says the hell with it because everybody's watching it on all these other platforms. But
Correct.
what we decided to do after production meeting is we have constructed a new Great American Facebook page, Great American Collectibles Facebook page, which is going to be really cool because we are going to really actively, it's going to be one of the major platforms. As a matter of fact, most of you are going to be watching it on, because we share the show with a lot of our viewers and listeners, people that have been with us for years. We're going to be sharing the show from the Great American Collectibles Facebook page with you folks. You really won't know the difference except you just click on, you'll be on the show. We're going to be posting hobby news every day, pics, videos, comments.
Maybe I might even post some of my columns there for my magazines. that
No,
I
that's
write.
quite all right. Oh, actually,
You know, for a fee.
for a fee. We're going to be posting comments from you folks.
Yes.
Videos. We're going to be like, for instance, Lelands is coming on in a few minutes. If Lelands has an announcement, or if Memory Lane has an announcement or a video, we're going to share that to our Facebook page. So
Yes.
everybody can kind of see what's going on in the industry. So I think it's going to be fun.
Is it up now?
It is up now.
So what is
Yes.
it called?
It's called it's called Great American Collectibles Show. And the reason it's not
Kill
called...
the.
Right, why? Because we got hacked.
Right.
So it's Great American Collectibles Show. If you go to the Great American, you're going to go to an old show that has no content.
No,
Even
the.
better, don't go to any, like, don't type. Don't waste your fingers.
Just click on...
Just click the link in the description.
Right.
It's
Go
right
onto-
below the video, right there. It's
Awesome.
right.
Bingo.
Click that,
Gotcha.
follow, and you're in.
Click
Gotcha.
on the link, and yeah, you'll be there. You
Perfect.
can see it on your screen.
Perfect.
Next week, we're going to
You
be
know, maybe
making...
on the page we throw out questions. Who's the best this? Who's the best?
Listen,
Right.
you're already...
You can start. We're gonna
Don't
poll
you
of the week.
understand what a professional I am?
No, I don't. I've been working with you like 20 years. I'm still trying to figure that out.
I am already implementing some of those. Okay. If you go on,
I should go to the Facebook page.
If you go on Great American Collectibles page, I've already started disseminating information. Nothing that's earth-shattering. But you know what the first thing I did was? The book award.
Well, that's a good start.
Which is good.
It's great.
It's a good way to announce that that
what we lose to this year.
Ducks.
No, not another bird.
No, I'm kidding.
Okay,
I'm kidding. So anyways, we're very, very excited.
We got a silver, and that's great.
We're very, very excited. Please get into the habit of going to the Great American Collectibles Facebook page. She's giving me a look right now. And click on that. As I said, JM's going to be contributing.
Absolutely.
Chrissy, myself, Rico. Rico can't even press the damn button.
Yeah, well.
No clue.
He can't press.
He went to the library to find Facebook.
He did.
Yeah.
All right. So next week, as I said, another real major announcement. Big one. So hang in there, and let's do this.
All good stuff.
Let's take a break now. We're going to take a break now, and we're going to bring in one of the guys that has been with us since the beginning, Jordan Gilroy from Lelands.
Yeah.
So guess what? Because we like him, and he's a Gen Zer, and we're trying to like Gen Zers.
He's a solid guy.
He really is.
Yes.
We're going to bring him in, and we're going to keep him for an extra 5 or 10 minutes. So is that good?
He should be so lucky.
I know.
He's so impressed back there in the green room.
Hang in there. We'll be right back.
Pristine Auction is a family-owned and operated online auction specializing in autographed memorabilia, sports cards, coins, art, and collectibles. Since their founding in 2010, they've grown to 2 facilities in Phoenix, Arizona, totaling over 60,000 square feet. Jared Cavalier and an incredible staff of over 150 team members serve a very large customer base and enjoy every minute of it. By working with leading authentication companies, Pristine ensures all items are 100% authentic. In addition, third-party authenticators regularly travel to Pristine Auction to provide authentication services on site. Pristine Auction strives to operate its business in a way that's honoring to God, their families, and their customers. With a strong focus on speed, quality, and premier customer service, their mission is to be the leading online auction for every level of collector and fan. Pristine also works for Hope Sports and Identity Hoops International, traveling to Mexico to build houses for the less fortunate. Pristine Auction offers several online auction formats with thousands of auctions ending each day. For more information, go to pristineauction.com. That's Pristine Auction, the best in the business.
If you're a discerning collector interested in owning the most important pieces in the hobby, look no further than Leland's Auctions. The original sports auction and appraisal house, Leland's was established in 1985 by legendary Pioneer founder Joshua Leland Evans. And today, President Mike Hefner carries on the tradition. From the Tom Brady card and memorabilia collection to the famed Boston Garden auction to high-end card auctions from every major sport, Leland's has always maintained the highest standards. Go to Lelands.com and get your bid in. That's Leland's, the hobby's leading sports auction house for 4 decades.
It's often been said that championships are won on the practice field, and world records come only to those willing to work harder than everybody else. Heritage Auctions is the world's largest collectibles auctioneer because we believe that becoming the best is only an invitation to the challenge of remaining the best. This requires the skills of the hobby's top experts, capable of identifying and maximizing value for our consigners. It requires the most visited website in the industry, courting a global audience of collectors over 1.5 million strong. It requires a dedicated press department that expands our global reach far beyond the entrenched hobby marketplace. It's hard work, but a simple premise. Present the finest collectibles to the largest population of potential buyers, and world records will come. We invite all listeners to put the unmatched power of Heritage Auctions to work for you. Auction evaluations are always free, and our commission-based fee structure ensures that our interests are always aligned. Highest possible price for your collectibles. There will always be new world records to chase, so let's chase them together. Visit our website at ha.com and request your no-obligation review today.
Hi, this is Dan from Memory Lane Auctions, here to remind you that the renowned Memory Lane Collectibles Company has served as a beacon of light to the collecting community for the past several decades. Indeed, folks, it has been our utmost privilege and pleasure to provide the most enthusiastic collectors with an abundance of the finest sports cards and memorabilia for America's most coveted sports personalities via our world-class auctions. Whether you choose either a private sale transaction or the auction route, Memory Lane cordially invites you to reach out to us to maximize the value of your prized possessions. Also, it is not just sales that we pride ourselves on being the best of the rest, because if you are seeking a particular keepsake for your esteemed gathering, we will be relentless in our quest to find that special piece to fulfill your collecting dreams. So no time to wait. Reach out to us today for the purposes of capitalizing on our unparalleled marketing capabilities. Simply pick up the phone and dial 877-606-5263. That's 877-606-LANE, or find us on the World Wide Web at www.memorylaneinc.com. Now is the time for your valued consignment to ultimately become another one of Memory Lane's record-setting prices.
Okay, we are back, and Jordan is with us. Hey, Jordan, before you do the CSA show, Jordan, I got a question for you. Are you married?
Yeah.
Are you married?
No.
Well, the reason I'm asking is I got a text from a viewer, female viewer. All I'm saying, asking if you were married. That's all I'm saying. All right. Now, do you want me to respond to her, yes or no?
I don't think my girlfriend would like that too much.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to say, I'm sorry, I don't know.
Yeah, don't feel too bad. They also asked if Steve Verkman was married. So.
Hey, listen, tell us about our good friends at CSA.
Will do,
Chantilly.
Zab. CSA Shows is proud to present the Chantilly Show, being held from Friday, June 22nd to Sunday, June 24th. Held at the Dulles Expo Center in Chantilly, Virginia, just minutes from the Dulles International Airport. Celebrating over 27 years at the same location, there will be over 350 dealer tables exhibiting on over 100,000 square feet of space. With both vintage sports cards and memorabilia, as well as modern-day sports treasures, you won't have to look very far for that special card, bat, ball, or autograph. Major auction houses and third-party grading companies will be on site to assist you with your collecting and authentication needs. Some of your favorite superstars will be on hand, including 2023 NFL first-round draft picks, C.J. Stroud and Anthony Richardson. Football greats, Mean Joe Green, Randall Cunningham, Jerome the Bus Bettis, NBA legend Walt Clyde Frazier, and many, many more. For more information, go to www.csashows.com. That's the Chantilly Show, where you can find all of your sports collectible treasures.
Hey, I meant to ask you. Have you noticed something?
Oh, geez, that shirt, yeah.
Austin Prep. This is my alma mater.
It is your alma mater.
And for those viewers, for you folks out there, just real quickly, and I'm going to get to Jordan. Austin Prep, I went to Austin Prep. It's a prep school just outside of Boston. Molori,
way outside.
Molori went to St. John's Prep, another prep school outside of Boston.
Yeah.
And he has always been badgering me about what a better athletic program that St. John's had.
And academic. And academic.
Don't even get on that
And
road.
academic.
But with that being said,
I added to both the athletic and the academic.
you do realize, just real quickly, that Austin Prep's baseball team has, in fact, surpassed St. John's. It's number one in the state. Number two.
They playing 9-man now? Or
number two.
Yeah.
Their football program leaves a little to be desired.
It's not good.
You
played for them, didn't you?
I did.
That's all you need to say.
Number three, their hockey program has surpassed
program's good.
St. John's.
Okay.
Maybe
momentarily.
And number four, more than anything, their girls' soccer team is superior.
Huge. That's a big step up for them.
All right.
If they had given me one of those, I might have lowered myself and gone there.
Well, it's a great school. All right, let's get to our friend. This guy's been with us since day one.
One of the best.
Jordan Gilroy from Lelands, Mike Hefner. I can't say
Great
enough
group
about
of
him.
people there.
Hey, Jordan, by the way, did you get a little piece of memorabilia from me in the mail yet?
I did not check the mail yet, but I think it should be in today.
Yeah, are you aware of what I sent you?
I heard it was a Jackie Robinson piece.
It was. It's a Jackie Robinson exhibit card from 1947, signed in 1947 by Jackie Robinson.
Oh, wow, lot number one.
In pen. I think that would be nice if you had like the first 1 or 2 lots, for crying out loud. Help me out here.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's in the mail to you.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's a good card.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
Very, very, hey, you got to take care of those who take care of you. All right, Jordan, you got the Focus. Tell us about this Focus auction. What is this all about?
Well, it's pretty much we call it a Focus because we focus on the best of the best. Everything has to have a value of at least $5,000.
$5,000. I almost fell off my chair when I saw some of those values. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's nuts, and some stuff's over 50, 60,000 already. So it's a great auction to check out, at least, even if you don't want to bid. And it also gives people the option to sell a little bit more frequently instead of having to wait 3 to 4 months. If something pops up, they need money, then we want to be an outlet that people can go to and sell their big stuff. And also we call it a Focus because we like to individually focus our attention on their items. So instead of trying to promote 1,000 lots in a 3-week span, promoting 50 over a 2-week span is a lot easier for us to navigate.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so if I have the Babe Ruth ball that you guys have, a phenomenal Babe Ruth signed ball, pristine. If I were to submit that to you, would you try to talk me into, like I say here, I got a ball for you, and you look at the item, you say, you know something, let's save this for the Focus auction, or rather than put it in our summer auction. How does that work?
I would probably, if you are not on a time crunch, then I'd recommend the Classic. But the Focus is for people that necessarily need the timing. Some people might not have the 6 months.
I got you.
Sometimes
I got you.
Someone will send us 3 Ruth balls and they don't want all 3 in one auction, so they'll spread it out.
Gotcha.
So it's just another outlet for people.
I want to jump down and talk about a couple of these items, and I'll do a theme here. And for those Cincinnati Reds fans tuning in or watching or listening,
all 3 of them.
All 3 of them. You have Pete Rose's record-breaking bat for the hit record, and you have a Johnny Bench game-used rookie mitt, which is
cool,
freaking cool, man. Can you
really
talk about
cool.
those 2 items?
Yeah, that Rose bat is the hottest piece in the entire auction.
Yeah.
I mean, it sold a couple years ago, and it's already like $15,000 or $20,000 over what it sold for, and it sold in like 2 years ago. So memorabilia has come a long way in the last 2 years. And the bench glove, I mean, if you're a glove collector, you can't really get anything better than that.
No, you can't.
I mean,
yeah,
they just don't pop up of any, great catcher.
Right.
Maybe you'll find like Piazza now and then, but Johnny Bench and like rookie year, oh my gosh.
You know who's a Johnny Bench freak?
Who?
Orlando.
Oh, yeah, Joe is.
Joe.
Yeah.
Why not? He's a Johnny Bench.
There's very few, because like we talked earlier in the show with Dan, who's the best center. Almost everyone, it's almost unanimous bench for catcher.
Oh, there's no doubt.
It's almost, yeah.
I mean, there's no doubt with
there's
that.
There's not a lot. You can have the parochial me and say Carlton Fisk and all that, but
I definitely. I mean, Jordan, you got to go with Bench.
In a weird way, Jordan, on the Rose thing, and even beyond this particular item that you guys have, in a weird way, has the fact that he's not in the Hall of Fame made his stuff even a little more valuable or likable or attractive to consumers?
I mean, people always think to themselves, we'll get in one day.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what that would do to his value just because there are like 10 million autographs of his out there.
Right.
But the game-used items, he can't just go out in the field and use a bat every single day like he signs baseballs. So
right.
The game-used stuff is just incredibly secure, and people love him.
Yep.
He's highly sought after in any field.
He's a hell of a player.
He's in a Hall of Fame all his own now. It's that's what I mean. He's not in the Hall of Fame with everyone, but he's got everybody knows he's a Hall of Famer.
Well, you know what's interesting about Pete Rose? You go to the Hall of Fame, Cooperstown Hall of Fame weekend. I can remember. I mean, now when he's there signing. You know what I mean? But I can remember going back 20 years ago, where he was at the end of the street.
That's right.
Set up
That's
at a
right.
table signing.
Right. Yeah.
I
as
mean,
an
that's how
outsider.
bad it was back
Right.
then. You
Right.
know, just crazy stuff.
Yep.
We are chatting with Jordan Gilroy from Lelands. Walter Johnson, man, you got some signed Johnson checks. Tell us about those.
Yeah, there's a Walter Johnson signed check that is graded PSA 9. And PSA 9 for an autograph that is 50, 75 years old, I mean, that's nearly impossible. And, yeah, I mean, signed checks are, you know, if you're thinking about Ty Cobb, then they're out there, but not Walter Johnson.
Right.
They
Right.
are,
Right.
I mean, I can't really think of, we maybe sold like 3 in the last 5 years.
Between him and Christy Mathewson, the two of them.
Yeah.
They're very, very
Yeah.
hard to come
Yep.
by.
Yeah, no doubt. You have a LeBron James autographed rookie card in this auction. I want to talk about that a little bit, but then I know you're a sports fan and you know the games. I just kind of want to know where you are on the LeBron versus Jordan, and maybe you have a third player you're throwing in there, but it seems to be more and more of a debate. I know that LeBron's team, thank God, didn't make it to the finals this year. But
I'm going to throw in Jimmy Butler.
he's building his rest. Yeah, Jimmy Butler for 2 weeks. I'll take Jimmy Butler over anybody.
Jesus.
But talk about that item and the Jordan versus LeBron thing, if you want.
Well, yeah, we have a couple of LeBron autos in the auction, and
Yep.
my favorite is the triple dimensions out of 25, the rookie, the PSA 10 with the 10 auto. Up until like 3 weeks ago, that was just graded a 10 with no auto grade, and we sent it to PSA. They reholdered it. They graded the auto at 10, which was terrific, and now it's a Pop 1 instead of a Pop 4. So, you know, there's also a BGS 10 auto that's pretty solid. There's only 8 of them out there. And
Yep.
if you like LeBron, I mean, there are 4 or 5 tremendous options for you. But the debate, I mean, my name's Jordan, so I have I favor MJ. I do though think that LeBron gets way too much criticism, especially being in year 20.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nuts. Like, look at Jordan his last couple of years. No one was like, "Oh, you're not the best because you're on the Wizards and you're."
Yeah, right.
Well, I think he brings a lot of that.
I mean, I think it's like eventually maybe the Brady Mahomes thing, okay? And maybe Mahomes is going to go on and win 6 Super Bowls. Maybe he will, or 7. But I think it's like the Jordan thing. Jordan is a legend. Like Jordan's like untouchable. His resume is set. But I would say I think the other thing you separate is resume from player. Now, if I'm picking a basketball player, I'm probably picking LeBron James because you could put LeBron James any position on the court, and he might be the best player at that position. You can't do that with Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan ain't playing center or power forward. You could play LeBron at either one of those positions and be great.
I'll take MJ.
He'd be an all-star.
Hey, Jordan, you have an interesting program signed by Babe Ruth. What's the backstory to that thing?
That's a 1930 program signed by Ruth. And I went to Baseball Almanac and tried to line up the lineups, no pun intended. I think it was a game they only played them maybe a dozen times, at least in Cleveland. So, you know, I was hoping it was a game that someone hit like a monumental home run, and it
wasn't nothing.
Just a standard game.
But he signed it.
Yeah, he signed it. I mean, anything Ruth is just, it's amazing. Even though there are a lot of Ruth signatures out there, people still pay a lot of money. Like, none of them slip through the cracks.
You know, it's funny. I bought all those programs in that auction.
Yeah.
And one of them, I was thumbing through it from 1930 or 29. These are Red Sox programs.
Yeah, right.
Signed by Joel Sewell of the Yankees.
Okay.
Up the top.
Interesting, huh?
Yeah. So whoever was scoring it must have seen him say, "Hey, will you sign this?"
that?
Boom.
Yeah.
Kind of cool.
Yeah.
We have about a minute left, Jordan. Your website address?
Lelands.com.
Now, since I did submit a card, when does that auction start?
That will start in July. Yeah.
July.
And we might even bring it to the National because it will open before the National and close after the National.
And
We'll
by
bring
the
a lot of
way,
stuff on display.
you know, I told a couple of our guys this. We're going to be broadcasting from the Burka stage from 1 to 3 on Friday. So we're going to do a little 5-6 minute segment, get either you or Hef up. You guys work it out. I'd rather get you, but don't say anything to Hef. But get you up on stage with us. We're going to be broadcasting from there. It'll be a lot of fun.
Awesome. Yeah, that's sweet.
All right, brother. Thanks for the support. And I think we're just about done.
It's always a
Say
pleasure.
hi to
man.
Hef.
Will do.
Always
care.
a pleasure,
Appreciate
Jordan.
it.
Be good. Joining Gilroy from Lelands. Hang with us till we say goodbye. We're done.
We are. Good
Nice
to be back.
seeing you, man.
Good to see you too.
So we'll see you the week after.
Yeah, am I back like every other week
Yeah,
now? or?
Petrocelli's in next week.
Yeah.
And
Don't sound so disappointing.
well,
He's great.
no, that's good. We'll get his wheelchair up here.
More announcements coming.
More big announcement next week. Huge announcement. Please view us. Check in with us. It's going to be kind of. We're going in a little different direction, and we're very, very excited about that.
It's going to be great.
With that being said, love you guys. JM, nice seeing you. Austin Prep, go. The school that wouldn't die. Happy collecting.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.